Welcome to the Explainer. You know that feeling, right? Staring at a tax form? But what really makes us fill it out and actually pay? Is it just that we're afraid of getting caught? Today, we're diving into the surprising psychology behind why we pay our taxes. And trust me, it is not what you'd expect. So let's start with that big question. For decades, the common wisdom was, yeah, pretty much. We pay taxes to avoid audits, penalties, and a whole lot of legal trouble. But what if I told you that fear is actually one of the least effective ways to get people to comply? It turns out there's a much bigger story playing out here. And this is where things get really interesting. We're seeing a huge shift in thinking. Global institutions like the OECD and the World Bank are realizing that the old model, the one based entirely on enforcement, is pretty limited. So now they're shifting their focus to something way more powerful, our own internal motivation to chip in. To really get our heads around this, we're going to walk through 5 key areas. We'll start by looking at what it means to go beyond punishment. Then we'll dig into the core idea of tax morale. After that, we'll see why education is so critical, how a taxpayer's charter puts this all into practice, and finally, what the future of compliance is starting to look like. So first up, what does moving beyond punishment actually mean in the real world? The old approach was super simple. It just assumed people only do the right thing because they're scared of what happens if they don't. But the new focus is all about voluntary compliance. This isn't about twisting anyone's arm. It's about building a genuine desire to participate. It's all based on what researchers call a psychological contract, kind of like an unspoken deal between a citizen and the state. Okay, so what is this powerful internal driver? Well, that brings us right to the heart of this whole explainer, a concept called tax morale. And here it is. Tax morale is our intrinsic motivation to pay taxes. It's the huge difference between being forced to do something and wanting to do it. This completely reframes paying taxes. It's no longer just a burden, but part of that psychological contract, a relationship that's built on mutual trust and responsibility. So how does this psychological contract actually work? Well, research points to 3 huge drivers. First up is trust. Do we believe our government is actually spending our money well? Second is fairness. Do we feel like the system is fair for everybody? And third, social norms. Do we believe that our friends, our neighbors, our colleagues are also being honest? Turns out, these feelings are way more powerful than just the threat of punishment. Okay, so if high tax morale is the end goal, how does a country actually build it? The latest research says the foundation starts surprisingly early. It starts with education. Now, this is a massive insight. A huge amount of non-compliance isn't people trying to cheat the system, it's accidental. People just don't understand the complex rules. And that's why education becomes the single most powerful tool you can use. It solves the problem before it even starts. And building what experts call fiscal citizenship is really a lifelong journey. It can start as young as 12 with just basic financial literacy in schools. Then for young adults, it might be things like gamified apps that help reduce that tax anxiety we all feel. And for professionals, it's AI assistants and pre-filled tax returns that just make it easier than ever to get things right. And the data on this is pretty staggering. An informed citizen, someone who gets the system and can see where their money goes, is 40% more likely to pay their taxes on time. That is a huge jump, and it's driven entirely by knowledge and trust, not by fear. So how do we make this psychological contract, official? That's where the idea of a taxpayer's charter comes into play. It just lays out all the rights and duties for both sides of the deal. A charter like this really formalizes that two-way street we've been talking about. It makes it clear that for every duty we have as citizens, like being accurate and filing on time, we have a right that corresponds to it. The right to know how our money is spent, the right to get professional help, and the right to have our data protected. It's all about creating a truly balanced partnership. So, where is all this heading? The final piece of the puzzle is to look at the trends that are shaping what the future of taxes is going to look like. The future of tax looks smarter and, frankly, a lot gentler. Instead of a threatening letter, imagine getting a little AI nudge, just a helpful reminder on your phone. Instead of a vague payment into a big pot, think smarter taxing, where you can actually see your contribution directly funding a local school or a park. The whole goal is to create simpler, more transparent, and more inclusive systems for everybody. This quote really just gets to the heart of this entire shift in thinking. It reframes honest compliance not as some legal burden we have to carry, but as an investment in our social infrastructure, the shared foundation of trust and services and opportunity that supports all of us. And that's the final thought we really want to leave you with. What if we all made this little mental shift? What if we stopped seeing taxes as a duty, as something being taken from us, and started seeing them as our direct investment in the kind of society we all want to share? It's a pretty powerful idea to think about.